Lesson 10.4 focuses on compound events and figuring out all the possible outcomes of multiple events. So here's just a little warm up for your brain. Forgetful Frank is trying to buy a bike lock that will have the fewest possible combinations to try in case he forgets his combination. Should he buy a 4-letter lock, a 5-digit number lock, digits 0 through 9, or a 3-digit locker style lock, digits 0 through 49. So to figure out all the possibilities for these combination locks, we can multiply the possibilities for each kind of place in the lock. So if we think about a 4-letter lock, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. So that means for each possible place, if it's 4 in the combination, there are 26 different possibilities. And so for the 4-letter lock, there are 456,976 possibilities. When we look at the 5-digit number lock, if we're using the digits 0 through the 9, that means there are 10 possibilities for each spot. So this would be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. You can think of this as 10 to the 5th power. And that equals 100,000 possibilities. And then the 3-digit style locker lock. So if it's the digits 0 through 49, that means there are 50 possibilities for each spot. So we do 50 times 50 times 50, which equals 125,000. So when we look at these, if he wants to find the easiest, he would go with the 5-digit lock. Our essential question today is, how can you find the number of possible outcomes of one or more events? And so we're going to look at some different lock combination possibilities and also some passwords, so you can figure out what's the most secure thing. So this lock has 3 wheels on it. Each wheel is numbered from 0 to 9. The least 3-digit possible combination would be 000. The greatest is 999. And so how many possible combinations are there? Since there are 10 possibilities for the first wheel, 10 possibilities for the second wheel, and 10 possibilities for the third wheel, we say that it's 10 to the 3rd power, which means 10 times 10 times 10. So there are 1,000 possibilities. So think about when we've done those escape rooms with those locks on there. Maybe you could have guessed. Went through all 1,000 possibilities to open the lock without doing the escape room. Probably the escape room is easier to do than trying every possibility. All right, this lock is numbered from 0 to 39. And it uses 3 numbers, so similar to the locks that you had on your locker this year. So how many possible combinations are there? So since there are 3 numbers in the combination, we can set it up like that. 0 to 39 means that there are 40 different numbers. Because to 39, we are including 0. That means there are 40 possibilities for each digit in the combination. 40 times 40 times 40 equals 64,000 combinations. We could also think of this as 40 to the 3rd power. All right, looking at this lock. So this lock's a little trickier. Wheel 1 has the digits 0 through 9. Wheel 2 has the letters A through J. That would be 10 letters. I put this chart over here if you don't believe me. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 for the 0 through 9. 10 again for K through T. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 10 again here. So when we look at this combination lock, we have 10 times 10 times 10, or 10 to the 4th power. So there are 10,000 possibilities. So if we compare these 3 locks, lock number 1 has 1,000 different possibilities. Lock number 2 has 64,000 different possibilities. And lock number 3 has 10,000. So if you were using a lock similar to this style on your locker was quite secure. You might often be prompted to have security passwords on accounts that you create, and there's really strict rules on it. And that is to increase the security of your password. So you can think about as they make different things required, such as numbers, letters, characters, it increases the number of possibilities for your password, therefore making it much more secure, less likely that someone would guess your password. So when we look at these 4 different setups, if you just simply have a password that's 4 digits, so we know that the digits are 0 through 9, so that would be 10 to the 4th power or 10,000 possibilities. If we have a password that has to have 5 digits, that's a little bit more secure. That's 10 to the 5th power, which means we'd have 100,000 possibilities. A password that has 6 letters, that's 26 letters per each of the 6 spots. So we'd be thinking of 26 to the 6th power. That is 308,915,776 possibilities. And then the last one, if this has to have 8 digits or letters, that means since there's 26 letters, 10 digits, each space has 36 different options. And so we'd be looking at 36 to the 8th power, which equals 2,821,000,000,000. Ooh, let's see. Did I lose my place? Oh, nope. 109,907,456 possibilities. So you can see why many places ask you to have both letters and numbers, because that increases your security. When we talk about these outcomes, lots of times we talk about this being the sample space. So the set of all possible outcomes of one or more events is called the sample space. We can use tables or tree diagrams to find the sample space of 2 or more events. And so maybe you've never thought about your decision about what you're putting on pizza as being probability, but it is because you have all these options. And so this is a pretty limited number of options, but to figure out the sample space or all the possible outcomes or options, you can make what's called a tree-style diagram. So we have 2 options for crust, thin or stuffed, and then the style at this place would be Hawaiian, Mexican, pepperoni, veggie. And so you can see on thin crust you have 4 options, on stuffed crust you have 4 options, and so there's a total of 8 different outcomes in this sample space, 8 different types of pizza that you can order. The other way that you can find the total number of possible outcomes, if you just need to know how many there are, is something called the fundamental counting principle. An event M, has M possible outcomes, and an event N has N possible outcomes. The total number of outcomes for an event M followed by event N is M times N. So if we think about that with the pizza example, the crust had 2 outcomes, and then the style had 4 outcomes. So if we multiply those together, we could see that there were 8 possible outcomes. We saw the 8 when we made that tree diagram. So if we look at this one, using the fundamental counting principle, lots of times there are questions on tests about how many outfits you can make given certain things. So if your event 1 is choosing a t-shirt and you have 7 different t-shirts, event 2 is choosing jeans and you have 4 possible outcomes, and then event 3 is choosing shoes and you have 3, we can figure out how many total outfits you can make using multiplication. So all we would do was take these 3 numbers and multiply them together, and we can figure out that there are 84 possible outcomes. This doesn't tell us all of the outcomes. We'd have to make a tree diagram or use a table to show all the outcomes. But this tells us we could make 84 outfits just out of having 7 shirts, 4 pairs of jeans, and 3 pairs of shoes. So you might be thinking of kind of some other things that you see around in your life that have codes and how secure are they. So I have a code like this on my garage door, and so thinking about if it's a 5-digit code, then we'd be looking at, that means there are 10 to the 5th power possibilities or 100,000 combinations. So probably somebody can't stand and guess all 100,000. If it's 7 digits, obviously that's a little bit more secure because we'd have 10 million different combinations. Wanted to talk about phones a little bit. We have many different unique possibilities for telephone numbers, which is important. Most of you are familiar with this style of phone right here, but these are 2 other phones that I had in my life. But it's kind of interesting to think about if you calculate how many different phone numbers we can make that are unique, do you think we would ever run out of phone numbers? So you think about that. And then here's just another example of kind of what it looks like to list outcomes or to calculate how many outcomes are in a sample space. So if we wanted to just use the counting principle, the fundamental counting principle, and figure out how many total outfits in this closet, we would take the number of shoes, 2, times the number of pants, 3, times the number of shirts, 5. And that would give us how many total outfits we could make from this. So 2 times 3 is 6. Times 5, and we end up with 30 outfits. If we wanted to actually see what each outfit would look like, we might use a tree diagram. I'm just going to start a tree diagram for you. So let's say we started with shoes, and I have picked gray shoes. So just with gray shoes, I know I have now 3 choices for what type of pants I'm going to choose. So I could have blue, I could have white, or I could have black. Okay, then once I have my gray shoes on and my blue pants on, I still have 5 possibilities of what I could choose for my shirt. So I could choose white, yellow, green, blue, or red. Same thing, I have my gray shoes on, my white pants, and I have 5 different possibilities for my shirt: white, yellow, green, blue, and red. And then if I put on my gray shoes and my black pants, I have a choice of those 5 different shirts again to make my decision: blue, red. So you can see with the gray shoes, we have 5, 10, 15 possibilities. We would see the exact same tree diagram if I now started with black shoes. So we'd have 15 with the gray shoes, 15 with the black, and that fits with our fundamental counting principle number of 30. Today, your work time, you're going to do the lesson 10.1 assignment and big ideas. And then if you have some time, go into the Canvas module for chapter 10 and explore some of these links. Just some different things where you can play some games online, try to have a little deeper understanding of some of the probability concepts that we're talking about. Have a great day.